Greetings Commanders, and welcome to another Starship Enterprises video. The aim of this video is to give you a good understanding of the various subsidiary companies within SE Corp. I will cover our most popular companies, and I will highlight the company's objectives and a little history behind them. To begin with, I'll give you a quick roundup of how our basic command structure works. First off, it's very important to note that the landscape of Elite Dangerous is a forever changing thing, and that SE Corp must adapt to take full advantage of whatever the current situation happens to be. This means that companies will become more popular or sometimes less popular over time. Some companies will suddenly do exceptionally well, and other companies will end up being mothballed only to be resurrected further down the line. So basically, we just do what is the most profitable thing at any given time. Starship Enterprises operations are divided into three sectors. These represent the three routes that commanders can take to attain their elite's rank. These are combat, trade, and exploration. All of the smaller companies in SE Corp are built around one of these three sectors. This is why the SE Corp mascot, Paul the Space Octopus, has three arms. Each arm represents one of the three sectors of the corporation. Within each sector, subsidiary companies are created, and often SE Corp will sponsor smaller projects offering business advice and financial support. If these smaller projects are successful, they will eventually be rolled into one of the three main sectors. So that basically gives you an idea of how we work and how our operational structure works. I hope you got a good idea of that. So now I'll go through our most popular companies and what sectors they fall under. So trade is how you keep a corporation strong. It's like a basic foundation of business, and a good solid foundation is what a corporate empire is built upon. Trading keeps the fluctuating market prices a bit more stable, and it keeps our group in a perpetual state of boom, which means better prices, which means more money. And being a corporation, money is the motivator of our every action. The core of our trade sector is probably the local logistics trade team. Local logistics are responsible for bringing much needed commodities into 339 and are an essential part of working the background simulation, which is the mechanic we manipulate to keep SE strong. Trade has become a massive part of how SE works, and this is perhaps our most important company. The local logistics ships are often either fully fitted for cargo or like half cargo and half passengers, and subsequently they don't have a very long range. But this is fine, as we have established strong trading routes with a number of neighbouring systems. As SE Corp has grown in size and taken more stations across 339, which is our home system, the local logistics trade department have become an increasingly integral part of our operations, and the company has seen continual growth, and has even been subdivided into smaller, more specific companies specialising in certain types of trade. So if you want the relatively quiet life of slowly but surely becoming a billionaire, then trading is probably the career for you. This company started life as just another small local trading venture, and it did moderate trade, but it struggled to compete with some of the more established companies at the time. Under Lewis Chapman's rule, the company was overhauled into a deep space venture and quickly located an excellent system for mining. SE Mining has now become an important company for Starship Enterprises, bringing large quantities of metals into 339 and helping in the construction of a number of new stations across the bubble. SE Mining has seen us through some of our harder times, and it's become the solid backbone of the trade sector. Mining is very good profit-wise, it's not affected much by fluctuating market prices, and there is a lot of good materials out there if you know where to look. The ultimate aim of SE Mining is to establish a dedicated extraction base in our preferred mining system, but this is a long-term goal and will probably require help from the galactic community. This is a small company working out of Gelman Ring Station. It is not a spacefaring company and it has no pilots, but it's a fan favourite and we can't ever seem to get rid of it. SafeSmile processes aluminium using a secret recipe into clear aluminum, which it then fits as windows on ships and stations alike. SafeSmile is run by a trollish little man with a northern English accent who likes to insist on things like, "If you buy one, you get one free. I said you buy one, you get one free." This company evolved out of SE's local logistics department. Pilots noticed that a number of systems in the local area were stricken by famine, and a special trade team was set up to deal with this issue. The Humanitarian Aid Department is dedicated to supplying these unfortunate minor factions with foodstuffs produced by our agricultural stations. Despite scaling up the department several times, the mountainous demands could still not be met, and eventually a deal was done with an Imperial agent to supply SE with a fleet of Imperial cutters. Later, with the construction of the park, the Humanitarian Aid Department added basic medicines to its list of exports and outbreak systems to its list of destinations. We have found that humanitarian aid provides massive profits, and our system is extremely well equipped to supply the correct commodities. Pilots who work with the Humanitarian Aid Department have become masters of their galactic maps and can quickly locate afflicted factions to provide aid to. Starship Enterprise's search and rescue are there to help you out of a tight spot when all else has failed. Dr. Chapman started the company after seeing the success of the Fuel Rats player group, and Starship Enterprise's search and rescue patrolled the local space around 339 for some time, providing stranded ships with protection and refueling. However, the search and rescue pilots quickly started receiving a large number of contracts to recover lost or even stolen items, and the company was eventually expanded from simple refueling duties to include recovery and rescue jobs also. Nowadays, the search and rescue department specializes in recovering lost and stolen items, including hostage recovery, as well as collecting meta-alloys for research back at Whitson Orbital, but they will still stop and refuel any stranded ships they happen to come across. Early in its life, Starship Enterprises was extremely combat focused, working alongside the Federation government, patrolling the borders and settling conflicts in war-torn systems. However, due to various actions of President Hudson that Dr. Chapman did not agree with, SE stopped the majority of its actions with the Federal Navy. It still retains good ties to the Federation, but most of SE's combat pilots were recalled and incorporated into 339's local police force after SE took control of the system. Nowadays, SE is not as battle-hungry as it once was, preferring to pour funds into science, R&D, exploration and trade sectors instead, but the private security sector is still an active and vital part of the SE corporate machine. Our combat sector has really fizzled down to 3 companies nowadays. These companies are: the Gunslingers are pirates that focus on tracking down wanted renegades and collecting bounty hunting vouchers. They patrol the mining resource sites in our local area and keep them free of pirate gangs. The Gunslinger department are especially popular with newer commanders looking for both excitement and profit, as they can work alongside more seasoned commanders who can offer them a degree of protection. The Gunslingers also often travel to community goal-driven events to capitalise on the large profits offered there. The Gunslingers are our most active combat department and still regularly take contracts to hunt down pirate lords and miscreants in and around 339. The Pacification Team specialise in quelling conflicts and operate almost exclusively out of conflict zones in war-torn systems. The department was a mainstream of SE operations in its early days and worked alongside the Federation government, contributing to their power play efforts. Eventually, the Pacification Team was recalled to 339 and most of its members were enrolled into the system's standing police force. The department was effectively mothballed for the best part of a year, seeing occasional use in sporadic civil wars and skirmishes in the local area. More recently, the Pacification Team has been reactivated to help in a campaign to take Gelman Ring Station. There are some plans in the works to overhaul the company to deal with the Thargoid threat. This department is in charge of research and development. If you need to upgrade your ship, and you're not quite sure what's the best way to go about doing that, then these are the guys you need to talk to. Engineering can tell you exactly what modifications or system you need to achieve your goal, and where to get it from. They can help you plan your ship's layout before you actually go out and spend those credits. They can offer you advice, and they can offer you tips, and they'll tell you exactly what you need to get before you need to go and get it. They offer advice to all our departments, but they're especially well versed in weapon modifications and their various strengths and weaknesses. In Starship Enterprises, we like acronyms, and nobody likes them more than in SES and I. This is the third and final sector of Starship Enterprises. SES and I stands for Starship Enterprises Science and Information, and this sector is involved in exploration and the information flow around the bubble. It is comprised of 4 companies that have all become important parts of the overall corporation. This is the main force of SES and I, and is responsible for charting new systems and celestial bodies. SE Discovery works closely with a number of other departments, but has formed an especially good working relationship with SE Mining, and was responsible for locating the system of Col 14, which has now become the main home of SE Mining. Discovery commanders spend long periods of time away from the bubble, charting the further reaches of the galaxy. Their ships are made for extended trips into unknown systems, as well as often being fitted for planetary exploration. SE Discovery pilots often lead quiet, solitary lives. They see little combat and rarely encounter other pilots. They return infrequently and unexpectedly from the depths of space, but the data on their computers can often fetch millions of credits to the right buyers, and they are witnesses to some of Mother Nature's most spectacular sights. The UA was a more recent project financed by SES and I. It is a news company employing freelance roving reporters documenting events and achievements by SE commanders. Many of these stories are picked up and run by one of the local newspapers called The Herald, and published system-wide. The UA has also had some success on Galnet, with stories going up during the construction of the Earth's Inheritance Wildlife Reserve. SE are always on the lookout for commanders wishing to submit stories to the unidentified article, big and small. These stories will be processed and could well eventually appear in-game. This venture started small, but became one of SE's greatest successes. A tiny biomedical research facility based on Soyum planet bred clones of Earth animals. These clones were genetically tailored to suit different environments, and then they were released onto newly terraformed planets across the galaxy. Dr. Chapman was especially fond of this venture and expanded the company. He extended their premises on Soyum planet as well as creating a similar facility on Whitsun. When SE focused their research into biomedicines, the Terran Wildlife Project received another boost in funds, and eventually the project culminated in a community goal and led to the construction of a specialized wildlife reserve on planet 4A. This facility has become one of SE's most important assets in 339. Galaxy Tours has become another important part of the modern SE blueprint, and it was instrumental in turning Whitsun Orbital into 339's primary station. Tourism has become increasingly popular within 339, especially since the construction of the park on planet 4A. Galaxy Tours caters to those sightseers and famous explorers wishing to see the galactic nooks and crannies of the Milky Way. It runs specially fitted luxury cruise liners to tour in comfort. Pilots who choose to fly with Galaxy Tours can expect to make extremely large profits, but it is also often required that they spend quite a lot on their ship in the first place. Galaxy Tours has, after all, standards to maintain. Orcas and Belugas are the popular choice for this company, often fitted for long-distance data-gathering trips. Galaxy Tours has built itself a fine reputation with famous explorers wanting to travel in style. So, that's it. Bit of a long video. Well done for keeping the whole way through, but that's all of the various companies within the SE umbrella. I mean, there's been other companies that I haven't mentioned here, but most of them have fallen by the wayside or they've been abandoned altogether, and they don't really warrant any kind of description in this video. So hopefully now you've got a firm understanding of both our operational structure and some of our more popular companies. Feel free to leave comments below how rubbish my mic is, and subscribe to keep tabs on SE Corp as our story unfolds. That's all for now, Commanders. Over and out.